Hello.
Hello.
Have a cup of hot chocolate. Oh, please. So, Edward James Muybridge, it is a pleasure to meet you. So, from what I understand, you were born in 1830 and you died in 1904, which I find rather remarkable since we're able to have this opportunity to meet each other at this point. Right. So, tell me about yourself. You created the animal locomotion, the camera for the animal locomotion, the zoopractiscope. Tell me about that.
Well, as you can see, I'm a real animal lover.
Really? It's good, isn't it? Indeed. Hear that? The creaks of the water, the birds chirping, the fabulous natural ambience of nature. And then we talk about this nature within this exquisite, well, rather bitter tea. It's rather chocolatey in my opinion.
Well, the tea is fine. It has great fluidity, like my animal locomotion.
Muybridge, about your zoopractiscope, from what I hear, it's rather peculiar in the sense that it doesn't exactly pick up sound as in my combination of the sinoscope and the phonograph. Have you seen mine? Do you know what this is? Would you like to check this out? I suppose not. Have you seen my camera? Have you... By Joe, what are you doing there? Calm yourself. I'm going to ask you, Sir Muybridge, to please calm yourself.
You best choose your next words wisely, Edison.
I don't see what the reason to quarrel is. All I said was that your zoopractiscope was a piece of junk. I mean, if you think about it, it's just an evolutionary way to create a camera. It was the first. But you see, mine, on the other hand, has the phonograph which captures audio. On the other hand, it also includes yours for your movement, except, I must say, better fluidity and trajectory. Catches motion with the video camera, and combining the two, I think I've got actually the better piece than your worthless junk. It's just a piece of garbage.
The reason why we have this scroll, because you're saying your invention's better than mine!
Well, first, let's calm the voice down, because pardon me, but
No, I will not calm down!
I am not enjoying this! I am not enjoying this! I am not enjoying this! Damn you, bullets! Oh no, you don't! No! Oh, you really broke my glasses. You really broke them.
I don't care!
Well, as you might already be well aware, myself and Muybridge don't talk anymore, especially after the last encounter. It wasn't obvious enough already. Our quarrel was about simply who was the better camera, but some people are just, you know, little scrambled in the egg. But anyway, allow me to take you into the next segment, shall I say the last segment of this. Today, we are here at the specific desk. Now, the point of the specific desk is to scrutinize deeper into the antecedent footage that has been presented to you with my colleagues James and Shay and the other representations that they acted into, the characters they portrayed. in this specific desk, I will take pieces of where they may have said or brought a concept. I will venture into the specifics and explain it in a layman term way where professionals and newcomers alike will be able to grab these concepts very simply. So I will begin with illustration, which I believe is one of the best fundamental ways of explaining something, for the mind renders picture the best. So,
frames must be 16 frames per second.
Now, what on bloody earth is frames per second? That just sounds congealed and frustrating and like a big word. Now we will begin the illustration. We could use cardboard construction paper for this. And thus we will draw simply a series of frames, a bunch of squares. Every square represents a picture of a certain object being captured. For instance, let's refer about to the object bananas or an apple. So you have an apple and you have a picture of it. That's one frame because it's still, it's static, it's not moving. But how do you give it the appearance to move? Well, you have, have you ever been to Disney World? They have, in fact, quite a variety of flipping through the pages and making it appear as motion's happening. Because what they're doing is they're taking one page and they draw a picture, an apple, an orange, a person, anything. And then the next page, they draw exactly the same object, except they move it slightly. And they have a page behind it, and a page behind it, and a page behind it. And the point is, by the time you're done making these slight, tiny movements, by the time you flip the page together, it looks as if it has some sort of trajectory. The more frames that you have in the smallest segments of time, the more fluid the picture. Now let me illustrate this. Imagine you have a line of time. I could represent this by drawing just a straight line. So we have a line of time, of course, from this side being the antecedent, from here being the future actions, and we mark the frames going in between. So as a camera is filming, it is creating frames along this line of time. Now, from this segment to the middle, let's pretend that there are, let's say, 16 frames. Just put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and so on, until we get to 16, which is another 8. Every frame is a slightly different picture of the same object. So I'm going to throw a frisbee, for instance. The first frame is me picking up the frisbee. I slowly grab it, and every single picture is another frame as I begin to move it slowly and slightly, every frame. Now, in this segment, we have from 0 seconds to 1 second. But from 0 seconds to 1 second, how many of these little tiny layers and pictures and frames shall we place in between the segment of 0 and 1? Now this is very simple mathematics. Between 0 and 1 you have 16 frames, as we just put. Now the more frames that you have between 0 to 1, the more fluid it will be like. The more fluid your picture will be like. Because after I get from 0 to 1, I go from 1 to 2, from 2 to 3, and I end up with 60 seconds, and then that becomes a minute, and then from a minute I get to an hour of footage. Now cameras just render this, this is how cameras render it. So when you go to the store and you're looking for a camera to buy, make sure that you get a camera that gives you the quality that you're looking for. If you want to produce films that look quite like the cinematics that you normally see in the theaters, they don't use regular video cameras, or at least the video camera settings. They switch the frame rate to usually 30 frames per second to create the illusion of that slow strobe you might see in distinction between your footage, your home footage, between a movie's footage. And simply what 30 frames per second means is that you have 30 little frames between 0 and 1, and from 1 to 2 another 30 frames, and from 2 to 3 another 30 frames of simple little complex movement. Now that is the fluidity of frames per second. Thank you.